So welcome everyone. And first I want to say thank you for still being here. I have the unenviable position of being dead last. So making STEM steamy, innovative strategies to diversify STEM by using art. I want to give you a little bit of a caveat before I start. I'm not a rapper. I'm not a singer. So when you look, you're looking for the content and the importance of that. So why is it important to have innovative strategies to diversify STEM by using art? The theme for the TEDxRHIT is interdisciplinary connections in a diversifying world. We all know that diverse teams come up with the best engineering solutions, as well as multidisciplinary teams work the best together. As we go into a more and more global community, it's very important that our engineering communities also be diverse in order to address the problems that we will face. And what we will see is that it's important because, as they say, what's the problem? It's the same distance. It may be the same distance, but we all know it's not the same experience. And it's more than a leaky pipeline, because if it was a leaky pipeline, you just slam some tape on the pipeline. There's one way in and there's one way out. It's not a leaky pipeline. It's an obstacle course. An obstacle course got moats. It has alligators. It has pitch. It has ditches. It has all these kind of things. So because of the obstacle course, what we have to do is we have to have diverse ways of bringing people in and helping them stay, because everyone doesn't go through the same experience. Some of them may have microaggressions, pioneerism. Some may have stereotype threat and all imposter syndrome. So all of these different ways have to have all of these different experiences. So when I say making STEM steamy, that means looking at STEM in a new way where we integrate the arts. You've already heard today about the challenges for women and Black and brown people in STEM, but you've also heard that it's not about a left brain or a right brain. When we say things like engineers are born, or engineers have the knack, we are automatically taking some people out. Because some people are like, well, no, I like Barbies when I was little. I like to draw when I was little. That does not mean that you would not make a great engineer. That is equally as important for you as well. So today we're going to look at some of the innovative ways that I have identified to try to bring more people to STEM by making it steamy. This all happened for me during the pandemic as well. I was on sabbatical. I had my Jerry Maguire moment. I hope somebody in here has seen Jerry Maguire, where I thought about what's a new way to do engineering? What's a new way to be a professor? What's a way I can take this great knowledge that our Rose-Hulman students get and take it out into the streets? And what I call that is my STEM is for the streets, the intersection of multidisciplinary topics in order to bring more people to STEM. So what we look at the data is we've had lots of innovations. We've had learning and living programs. We've had bridge programs. We have Black Girls Code, Girls Who Code, First Lego League, First Robotics. And despite all of that, the numbers have been relatively flat for the last 10 to 15 years. For African Americans and for Hispanic students, it normally hovers around 5 to 10%. Asian students, about 15%. Good news is women have gotten up to 25 or 30%. And that is progress, but it's not on par with the national averages of where these numbers are. So what kind of things can we do to try to get all of those numbers to grow? And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So the first thing that I came up with is try something new. During the pandemic, I worked with other Black women engineering professors around the United States, and we talked about engineering has a marketing problem. You say, think about an engineer, MacGyver, Dilbert, Sheldon. What do all those people have in common? Right. You know, you don't have to answer me unless you want to. So what we came up with is we need more TV shows. We need more comic books. We need more media to get to kids and to people who consume those things so that they can see somebody that looks like them, because we know that representation matters. So we came up with writing fictional books about Black women in science, technology, engineering, and math. And I have been a romance head since I was in high school. So my books had to be about romance as well. So I wrote a Black STEM romance novel during the pandemic. It's called Elevated Inferno, and it's about Monet. She's a graduate student in computer science who is studying robotics because she wants to use robotics to help autistic children. But she's on her way to her internship and the elevator breaks down. Oh my God, this actually happened to me. That's why I wrote about it. And the firefighter who came to rescue her was fine. He was so fine that they started dating. Well, that's a problem because her professor needed her in the lab working on the robots. Her professor needed to get tenure. So what I hope to do with these books is make people not only aware of the challenges, but also give them the resources. We want the challenges to go away, but even if they don't, we want you to be there, but be equipped with the resources to be successful. So that excerpt was also something that happened to me where I had an advisor say, stop working on all that stuff and get in the lab. And we have to understand that, this dual bind, we have to be able to do both. So also another way that I have come up with an innovative strategy to do this, like I talked about, is looking at the intersections with robotics. The great thing about robotics is it's multidisciplinary. It's a mechanical machine that uses software in order to act on the world. So you can hit mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, software engineering. But guess what? The robot has to interact with a person. There's something called the uncanny valley that happens when people get creeped out by a robot. Then there's also something that happens when you have bias in artificial intelligence, bias in engineering design, and bias in robotics. So doing robotics means you need to also have some social psychologists, some psychologists, etc. So a great way of showing STEAM is by using a robot. It brings together all the intersections of all of these different disciplines. I call it robotics for the streets. My STEM is for the streets because everybody in the street can learn something about a robot. I can bring people more to STEM and I can bring STEM to people by using the robot, and all of these intersections together make STEM steamy. So let's take a look at how I've used robots in order to do this.
Welcome, Rosie Sparks, my newest robot queen. She has 4 wheels for driving around to see what must be seen. She also has a sonar, which is a most amazing thing. It figures out when things are close by sending out a ping. She listens to see when that comes back, to see what is around. How many of you knew that you could do that with sound? We write code for Rosie to help her to sense, then plan, then act. There's lots of things to do with robots, and that is just a fact.
So the reason this is fun is because now young people can learn something about robotics. It doesn't have to be intimidating. I actually did this with the Girl Scouts, and then I would play the video and ask them, what does a sonar do? Or what does an encoder do? And things like that. And what you find is that by giving it to them in these small bite-sized chunks, you're able to get them to understand some of these more technical aspects about robotics. Had a young lady one time tell me, I don't even want to do this. I'm scared of robots. So we have to do that because we have to disconnect them from computer graphic imagery of what robots do, killer robots, as they say, or Black Mirror robots, to what the reality of robotics is and why they are meant to be in these spaces and that they're not cut out of it. So another way that I have done this is open source robotics. So a lot of times you will find that people are like, I am so intimidated by this field. I'm not a genius. I don't know anything about it. So I designed open source robots where I put all of the files online, the 3D printed materials, tutorials on social media, YouTube, etc., so that we can increase access and inclusion by making low-cost robots and giving people all of the information to create their own. It looks a little less foreign to them. So this is Lilybot, Lily, come up here with us. They can't see you, baby. So this is Lilybot, and this is based upon the Rose Home and mascot. So they're all the flower bots, Lilybot, Daisybot, and wait for it, Rosiebot, duh. So here is Lilybot showing a little bit of obstacle avoidance, but these videos online are really just helping people to understand you too can make a robot. And so what happened is when I started sharing these on social media, teachers, so high school teachers, middle school teachers, how can I do this with my kids? So I started sharing these designs with them so that they could do this with their kids. And then I had someone reach out to me and go, I don't have a 3D printer. That's a 3D printed robot. So take a look at the box. Everybody sees the box. Watch the magic happen. BoxBot was born. So you don't have a 3D printer. You got some boxes around your house. You got some shoe boxes, and can you order some things, right? So thinking out the box and being creative, how can we do things so that people are accepted? This is the exact same robot as that. It's just in a box, right? But these are the ways by increasing access and inclusion, we take no one out of the market. I will work with you and meet you where you are. That's what STEM for the streets means. Wherever you are in the street, I will come meet you and let's get some STEM done. So another way that I do that is artificial intelligence is really, really big right now. I have given more talks on bias in artificial intelligence, bias in robotics, machine learning, deep learning, neural network. And what I've learned pretty quickly is when you give these presentations, people don't know what it is. But it's like, it's all you hear about on the news is what is that? So I made some videos and I actually had somebody start arguing with me under this video, like, that's not what it is. Well, you know, if it's a 30-second clip, I can't give you all the details. I'm trying to make it so you can have a conversation about these things that's really hot right now. So here's another example of me as a STEM communicator talking about what is a robot and what is artificial intelligence. It's not just about the education, but seeing diverse voices so that kids can know I can see what I can be, because we already know that they're now working on seeing what they cannot be. It just makes it a whole lot easier if you see someone who looks like you doing this. So another thing I did, because everybody's so scared of artificial intelligence, I wanted to give you an example of how I use AI art. I recently gave a presentation on Afrofuturism at the National Museum of African American History and Culture. And one of the challenges is they wanted me to give it to kids. And I spent all day long trying to find images of kids, black and brown kids, doing STEM in TV shows and movies in order to inspire them to do it. And I killed myself. By the end, I had come up with 4 things. I had the little girl from Stranger Things. I had somebody from Black Panther, Shuri. I then used Katherine Johnson from Hidden Figures. And one other that I'm having a brain fart on right now. It'll come to me in a minute. But finally, what I said was, I'm going to have to go create the reality that I want them to see. So what I did is I went to AI art and I created images of kids being entomologists, marine biologists, soldering, coding, building robots, programming, biologists, scientists, physicists, etc. So if our mainstream media does not create the reality of the world that we want to see in the future, then we have to use the technology that we have to create these. So these are other things that I now share as a STEM communicator to help people to see what they want to be. One of my other challenges is on social media, memes and GIFs are really, really big. So I was like, if I'm going to get more people excited about this, I have to start sharing my reactions with meme and GIFs. Surprise, surprise, when I started searching black engineering professor, black woman engineer, there was nothing. So I had to create my own GIFs. So I actually have a Giphy channel now, so that when you search for things like an engineer or a black professor teaching you about robotics, there's actually something that comes up to represent your real feeling. Innovative ways to diversify STEM. Coming soon, my children's books, right? Because we're not anything if we don't start from the littles to the big. So pre-K to second grade, middle grade, young adults, all about kids talking about their robots, how to build them, how to design them, and how to interact with them. So I will end by saying, what skills do you have and what can you use in innovative ways to diversify STEM?
Turn the music up in my headphones. Let's meet Harriet Tubman. She's really quite a soldier. What makes her so unique? That's her 2 encoders. She leads the way to freedom by heading to the north. Encoders let her know how far she's moved back and forth. Her back wheel is a roller to help her move about. Keep low, keep quiet, keep moving as we head up out the south. Make sure you don't get left as she navigates by stars. Show me some respect. I just dropped those robo-bars.
Thank you. Thank you.